Hello, so today I'm going to be going over the insert all function. And the question asks, write a recursive function insert all that takes as input two linked lists, S and X, and an index. Insert all should return a new linked list with the contents of X inserted at index of X. So let's go ahead and take a look at our docstring to better understand this question. So we can see that insert all takes in three parameters, two of which are linked lists. And in our docstring, we have insert as our first linked list and another linked list called original. And when we call insert all, we want to put insert into our original at the index of 2. So if we take a look at what it outputs over here, we see that having our original list as link 1, 2, and 5, we see that at index 2, we are inserting link 3, link 4, which is our insert. So at 0, 1, 2, at index 2, we are inserting link 3, link 4, which we do. And then we continue off with our original linked list. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And then if we continue reading the rest of our docstring, we see that we have start as another linked list of just one. And when we call insert all, where we insert start at index 0 of original, we end up just putting link 1 just straight in the beginning at index 0, and then just continuing on with the rest of our linked list. So now that we better understand this problem, we want to note that this is a recursive function. So what should our base case be? Our base case should be the simplest possible version of the problem, which would essentially be when both X and S are empty linked lists. So the result would just be like the empty list. So let's go ahead and write that. So if S is link dot empty and X is link dot empty, then we want to return an empty list. So now that we have our base case, we can now try to think of the ways to break down this problem even further. So what we want to note is that when we have the index and we're inserting it at 0, such as in the case with over here, the problem is relatively easy. We simply just have to put all of the elements of X followed by all of the elements of S. So the first element of the new list should be X dot first, and the rest of the new list should be X dot rest combined with S, or just the insert all with S X dot rest 0. Cool. And so since we are using X dot first and X dot rest, we just need to check that X is non-empty to ensure that we do not error. So let's go ahead and do our second if statement. So if X is not link dot empty and our index in our simplest case is 0, or a relatively simple case is 0, then what we want to do is return a linked list that has X dot first, and then we're gonna call our insert all again because this is a recursive function with S, X dot rest, and 0. Just like I said over here. But we can do this. Okay, so then if none of the conditions are met, then we can just simply return a new linked list, and we're going to have to call s dot first, and then our insert all with s dot rest x and index -1. So when we get to the index to be inserted at, so when the index to be inserted at is non-zero, so like if it were 1, 2, or inserted at index 5, we know that we're going to have some elements of S, then the elements of X, and then the rest of the elements from S, just like in our above docstring example. So by doing so, the first element of the new list should be s dot first. Then we can get the rest of the new list by inserting the contents of X at the index of index -1 of s dot rest, which is just explained like right here. So hopefully this all makes sense. And yeah, thank you for listening.